Next, I will explain how to connect the 1 to 8 dispenser to the water source. First, we need to take out the small white tube provided. One end is connected to the fresh water source. The other end is connected to the water tank we provided. Locate our fresh water source. Connect it. Unscrew the locking cap. Insert the pipe. Insert it back and tighten. Select the appropriate distance. Cut it. After cutting, connect the other end of the pipe to the water inlet at the top of the water tank. If the water tank is not selected, please refer to the float valve installation instructions. Take out our mesh pipe. Connect the water tank to the water pump. Insert one end of the mesh pipe into the hose clamp. Connect to the bottom of the water tank. Tighten the hose clamp. Select the appropriate distance to the water pump. Cut it. After cutting, insert the hose clamp. Connect it to the water pump. Tighten the hose clamp. After tightening, turn on the water tank switch. Now, our water source is fully connected. Water can now flow. Now, let me explain the installation of the float valve. The parts currently on display are all included in our accessory pack. This is the elbow for the float valve. We need to take out the float valve first. Wrap it with PTFE tape. And match our connector to the pipe. Now that all our parts are ready, we need to drill a hole of approximately 22 to 23 millimeters in diameter in the lid of the chemical tank. Pass the float valve through the tank lid. Then install the elbow. For connecting the elbow, it only needs to prevent leakage. Install the connectors we need as well. The float valve assembly is essentially complete. Put the tank lid back in place, ensuring there is a gasket to prevent leakage. Next, I will demonstrate how the float valve works. Connect one end of the pipe, making sure the pressure in the pipe does not exceed E bar. When the water level reaches the standard level of the float valve, the valve will stop the water flow. The float valve has now stopped working. When the water level drops, the float valve will start working again. First, ensure that the float valve and the water level are in the vertical direction without tilting. This is the working principle of the float valve. I will demonstrate the connection of the power supply. Note that our dispenser does not come with a power cord. First, we need to find a 220V National Standard 0.1 mm superscript 2 wire. Open the machine's outer casing. Pull the wire through the reserved hole in the dispenser. After pulling it out, this is a quick plug design. Open it upwards. Insert the live wire and neutral wire into the corresponding holes, pushing them in fully. Close the quick plug connector. Connect the other end of the wire to the power supply. Close the casing cover. Turn on the switch on the other side of the machine. The machine lights up normally. At this point, our power supply is connected. Next, I will show how to connect the air inlet of the dispenser. First, we can see two pressure gauges on one side of the dispenser. Next to it, there is a reserved T connector. Take out our 8 mm air pipe. Insert the air pipe. Insert the other end of the air pipe into the compressed air interface. After the connection is complete, you can check the pressure gauge for the air pressure value. The needle moves. The pressure gauge is now fully connected. Please note, at this point, the value on the lower pressure gauge should be between 4 and 4.5 bar. The value on the small pressure gauge should remain between 1.5 and 2 bar. If you need to adjust the pressure gauge, pull up the cap ring to adjust. After adjustment, press it down. The pressure gauge value has been adjusted. Next, I will explain how to connect the suction rod. Cut the suction pipe to an appropriate length based on the distance from the chemical container to each pump. Take the first pump as an example. Connect one end of the suction pipe to the suction rod. Remove the locking cap on the suction rod. Pass the suction pipe through the locking cap. Connect the suction rod to the suction pipe. Tighten it. After connecting, insert the suction pipe into the chemical container. The other end of the suction pipe. From the back of the machine. Connect it to the intake port at the bottom of the pump. After removing the locking cap at the bottom of the pump, insert the suction pipe. Connect the suction pipe to the pump. Tighten it. The suction rod is now successfully connected to the pump. We will sequentially connect the remaining 7 pumps. Next, I will demonstrate how to connect the discharge pipe to the discharge valve. We take out the mesh pipe. Cut the mesh pipe to the appropriate length based on the distance from the discharge valve to the washing machine. Measure and cut each to the appropriate length. From left to right, the machines correspond to washing machines 1 to 8. Now, we will take washing machine 1 as an example. Insert the mesh pipe into the hose clamp and connect it to the discharge port at the back. Tighten with the hose clamp. Connect the other end to the washing machine. Sequentially connect the remaining 7 discharge ports. The discharge valve is now fully connected.
Splanny.